So to add a little bit of insult to injury, take a look at what's going on behind the scenes with Joe Manchin and his other senators. Look at what they're calling him. This is from Sahil Kapoor. He says, Senator Joe Manchin walks into a crowded senators-only elevator. Mr. President, Mitt Romney greets him, nodding. Hey, Joe Biden. That's an open-handed slap, boy. That's what that is. He's spitting in your eye. I mean, you're taking cuckdom to new level. I've never seen anybody as cucked as Joe Biden is to Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. And the left flank of Congress are cucking right along with him. Cucking ain't easy, but they're cucking right along with him. What's wrong with you guys? This and don't listen to the mainstream pundits who will tell you, what are you going to do? This is inevitable. This was an inevitable consequence. It's going to happen. You can't make them do things that you want them to do. Wrong. First of all, they didn't even try. So let's not have that conversation, because the idea of like, I tried nothing and it didn't work. Well, no shit. Maybe you should have tried something and then maybe it would have worked. So how many times have I told you guys? I mean, I should tattoo this on my forehead. It'd be a pretty long tattoo, but I should tattoo it on my forehead, because apparently this is the only show that's giving you the details on it. But there's a way you could have put pressure on him. You could have played the mafia boss role and said, I'll be your best friend or your worst enemy. If you vote for my legislation, the full $3.5 trillion package, then, you know, you can get a position in my administration. Somebody in your family can get a position in my administration. I can give you another military base in West Virginia. I could give you extra money for another infrastructure project in West Virginia. We'll give you the full backing of the party for a re-election campaign. You'll be an American hero. We'll build a fucking statue to you. You want a library named... I'll give you whatever you want if you do the right thing. I'll make a list. What tickles Joe Biden's fancy? Don't answer that question. That sounds gross. You get the point. What is something that would make him say, oh, now you got my attention? He's only human. Of course those things exist. How do I know? Because corporate America does this with these assholes all the time. They give them whatever they want, and then they obey them. That's the way it works. So you say, look, I can do that. Or if you don't vote for this bill, well, what can I say? We already know that your daughter's a criminal. We already know she was involved in the price gouging scandal, working with Big Pharma, the EpiPen price fixing. They got her dead to rights on email saying, how do we rationalize jacking up the price for this thing? You're caught. You're caught. By the way, Joe Manchin's wife, too, also involved in this criminal racket. Joe Manchin himself made millions of dollars. There's a great article in The Intercept, Joe Manchin's Dirty Empire. He makes millions of dollars from fossil fuel companies, and he heads the climate committee that's going to determine what gets in the bill? What kind of a sick joke is that? You have leverage on them. You have power. We don't have to idly sit by with wanton corruption happening. That's a choice, to sit idly by with wanton corruption happening. Guys, truth be told, Joe Manchin and his family should be prosecuted anyway. Either way, they should be prosecuted. But you know what? If it meant getting the American people a real piece of legislation that had childcare, universal pre-K, lower drug prices, Medicare expansion, and all that stuff, would I say, you know what? Sorry, we're going to use prosecutorial discretion here. We're going to let this slide, but we're going to get his vote to do the right thing for the American people. Could I do that? Would I do that? Absolutely, I'd do that. This is politics. This is the way it functions. But you had to be willing to apply that pressure. Now, by the way, let's say, given all that, he still rebukes you. Which he wouldn't. He'd definitely be at that negotiating table in good faith if you did that. But let's say he wouldn't be. Okay, well, now it's on, son. Now you're going to become public enemy number one. You know who understood how to do this? You know who does it right now? Donald Trump does this. Take one of these Republican congressmen, have them cross Donald Trump, and he serves them their head on a platter. I mean, he used to tweet right at them, excuse me, sir, you dropped your ass, and I have it right here. He would go after them viciously, relentlessly. And you know what? The entire Republican base would be like, I hate that person. I hate that person. Because they're siding with Big Daddy Trump, because Big Daddy Trump was the leader of the party. He was the one that had the bully pulpit. So Joe Biden has that opportunity. He has that option, but he has to use it. So if Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are killing your legislation and you supposedly care about it, make them public enemy number one. Give a speech. Say there are two people who are blocking progress in this country, and they are Democrats. They are Democrats. And you know what? Maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe they should go be with the Republican Party. Maybe what we should do, I, as President of the United States, will direct the Democratic Party and the DNC to fund a primary opponent against Kyrsten Sinema and against Joe Manchin, and we're going to get somebody in here who will do the right thing. And you know what? By the way, while I'm using this bully pulpit, allow me to tell you guys everything. Joe Manchin is corrupt. Joe Manchin makes millions of dollars from dirty energy companies. And so that's why he's against having climate provisions in the bill. What do you know? Kyrsten Sinema just took $1 million from Big Pharma, and all of a sudden, she's not in favor of lower drug prices anymore, when she used to run ads saying, I want to get to Congress to lower your drug prices. Call them out. These people, I know it might not feel like it because we're outsiders, but from within the club, these people, they feel like all they have is their reputation. All they have is their good name. If you make them a social pariah, they will bend the knee because they have no option. Now, that is, a last resort, but it's something you have to do if you're at the last resort place. And guess what? Joe Biden ain't doing any of that shit. You want to know why? He doesn't really care. He doesn't care about the details. Joe Manchin cares about a win in name only, just like Obama did. Hey, I got Obamacare through. Sure, it's a healthcare plan that right-wingers came up with at the Heritage Foundation that keeps the for-profit health insurance companies in control and won't get us to universal healthcare. But hey, I got a win in name only, so shut up and take it. This is democratic politics in today's day and age. I want a real win. I want Medicare for all. I want good legislation to pass. Joe Biden, maybe he cares about 1 or 2 provisions in the bill, but he certainly doesn't care about all the ones he stripped out in 2.5 seconds. FDR is rolling over in his grave right now. LBJ is rolling over in his grave right now. Any Democratic politician who ever cared about anything is rolling over in their grave right now. Because here you have a Democrat who's giving away the farm, and you know what? The media and all of his staffers are whispering in his ear, the problem was that you were too ambitious. The problem is you should be more like Manchin and more like Sinema and more corrupt and more centrist, and then your poll numbers will go up. They're giving him the exact advice that'll make his poll numbers go down more. Think about that. They're spitting in his eye, smacking him across the face. They're calling Joe Manchin president. They're calling Joe Manchin president. You think Donald Trump would have let that slip if Democrats were calling Mitch McConnell president? Trump would have been out there that same day going after, he's going after Mitch McConnell right now, and that didn't even happen. He's calling him Old Crow Mitch. By the way, just to be clear, in that fight, it's hilarious because Trump pretended to be in favor of an infrastructure bill. Well, we got the traditional infrastructure bill through. Now all of a sudden Trump is saying we should take the 13 Republicans who voted for the infrastructure bill and kick them out of the party. What happened? I thought you were like, I don't care about partisanship. I care about wins for the American people. And all of a sudden that's out the window. Now they want to kick all of the people who voted for infrastructure out of the Republican Party. So in that fight, Mitch McConnell is actually right, to be clear. But Trump is putting up the fight. He's using that bully pulpit. He's making them fall in line. Something Joe Biden will never do. Instead, what does he do? Gives him a backslap and calls him JoJo. And what do you get for that? Well, now he gets your title as president among other senators who look at you as what you are, Joe Biden, a massive cuck.